Are you ready? Damn it.
I'm fucking born ready, Pablo. Let's go.
All right, dude. Well, obviously, great to see you. You got the cocktail in your hand. I wish I had my whiskey, but we'll move on past that. I tried to be professional, and not drink, but then I thought, God damn it, I'm hanging with Johnny Christ here. I gotta have and you do the Drinks with Johnny podcast and stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's,
Yeah,
so we got this big album coming out, man. I know you're geek for this, but I want to go back before we go forward here. And you're coming off, the stage, the touring and all that. When you guys come home, and this is just before the pandemic, I suppose, maybe about a year or so, is it just family life at that time? It's just shut down. Don't think about writing music. Don't think about being in a band. Just think about being a dad at this time and a husband. Is that kind of what goes through your world at that time?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not right away though, because and honestly, it's hard because I got to remember everything. But it's been 5 years. But we got off the road kind of abruptly. We had a tour scheduled with the Prophets of Rage. Matt had some vocal issues that happened in Europe at the end of that cycle. Very unfortunate. And so it was a little bit abrupt, but once we were home and soaked that in for a second and helped try and put our arms around our brother there, because that as much as it upsets everybody else, you just try and conceptualize that your human instrument, the part that you can't just change strings on, fails you every once in a while. That's tough,
Yeah, I remember him going through that, dude. I know it was difficult for him for a while too. So you take that downtime, and again, you're just a family man at this time. You're not thinking about writing music, right? Then the pandemic hit. Is that kind of how that went too?
No. So we, like I said, it was the summer of 2018 we got off, and then we took our usual, couple of months to really say hi to family, friends, everything, get ourselves back on track in the different mode of home life and writing mode, and really start to have the conversations of what we want to accomplish with the next record, where we're at in our lives. What do we want to say? What do we want it to sound like? When do we want to start?
Sure.
And we started, pretty much towards the end of 2018 is when we all just kind of started writing individually, and kind of started getting together. So then we went through all of 2019, kind of sporadically working on music and getting together and putting this record together, which was, a big record to put together for us.
Absolutely.
We talked about it before, but this is a record where we really focused on cutting the fat. If there was something that it was good, but not great, it was just gone, and I think that's why a lot of the initial writing took a little bit longer than usual. So that was a year, and then right at the beginning of 2020 is when we were meeting a little bit more often with our producer Joe Barisi. We were starting to schedule in the coming months when we would start tracking drums, and then obviously from that point on start tracking stuff, and that's when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
Yeah, so
put the brakes on everything for a bit.
Put the brakes on everything for us there for a minute, and that's when we were like, okay, as everybody else globally did, we, you had to hunker down and, get in your pods and everything like that. And obviously you can't make a record in a pod. I mean, I guess you can technically, but not the way we make records. So we took the time to be with our families even more than we already had, man. I mean, that was, getting into a year and a half, 2 years at that point that we'd been home.
Remember where all the light switches are in your house, that kind of stuff,
man. Well, no, I mean, I that was another crazy thing is I have a young son who was born in 2017. So, I mean, he had just turned 3 in March. He turned 3 in February of 2020. And I think that, it changed a lot of perspectives around the world, right? I mean, if you're at home with your family, I mean, it's going to be tough, but I don't mean to, if someone tries to put themselves in our shoes, imagine coming off the road, headlining all the biggest festivals in Europe, and then becoming a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, that's culture shock, man. Totally.
I'm not complaining in the least. It's just it's an adjustment, right? And it's an adjustment you learn from.
Of course.
And it was a great silver lining to everything, but I mean, it definitely changed a lot of things. And then on top of that, then you had the pandemic hit, and then there was a whole other learning curve as everybody else had to learn with too. And it changed our way of thinking. And then when we were able to get back into the studio with just the five of us and our producer, that was okay for a while, but then we were looking at it and we're like, oh, we still got to get the orchestra in here.
Oh,
and
sure.
get all this other stuff in here.
Right.
So
I
that
heard
took
Matt
another
said
bit
that
of
too.
time. Yeah. So that took a little bit more time too. So and there was other roadblocks along the way that we could get into in a longer format another day, but like it was good. It was good for us. And looking back on it, but there was tons of curveballs on this record going into it. And it was the reason why it took us 5 years to get it out.
Life is but a dream, man. I'm kind of that's what it is, right? Huh? Nice little segue there. Do you guys reflect, man, on the past? When you're writing records, do you reflect on the past at all, or is it all just moving forward?
It's I'd say 90% moving forward. You reflect on the past just as anyone would in an introspective way, right? I mean, especially as we're just talking about going through some real life personal issues and stuff. It's you got to look at yourself introspectively to see how you can move forward, right? And that comes more as like a personal and a philosophy on life kind of vibe. It's not really how we approach. If we're talking more about music and the career and the business side of Avenged Sevenfold, not the human element, I think you kind of naturally, your past is just kind of embedded in you as a songwriter, or at least it is for us at this point. Every step that we've made in our career musically, we've challenged ourselves. As you know, Pablo, we've had many conversations about this before. When we go in to do a record, a lot of it is for us is what can we do now? What can we do that we haven't done? How can we challenge ourselves as artists, as musicians, as brothers to push ourselves to a place that we didn't think we could go. And this record was no different in that sense. I mean, we wanted to do that, but if I'm going back to those other records, I believe every time we do that, we go so far all in that style, that new style that we've focused on for the 2 years we're writing that record, say for instance, A Hail to the King, that has now become part of our writing DNA. Like that is like, there it is, buddy. Yeah. That looks good on the wall, dude. I got some other great ones.
I got too. Nightmare over here, man. It's great. I mean, obviously your bass is right there, by the way, the one you sent me. I think you actually sent me that during the pandemic. So
I did. Yeah. Well, anyway, that was actually 2 years later than you asked for it, but it happened to be there. I had to be sitting at home with nothing better to do to finally send it to you. So I apologize.
Of course. No worries, dude.
Go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, it's just that it's exciting. The song Nobody, the single that we're playing on the air right now, we've had a great reaction to it. Tell me a little bit about that. I've read some of the things that Matt's had to say about it, describing it like the album maybe as a bunch of colors, and that one would be kind of like the black hole. He said, he says, think of it as a universe. Nobody sits in the middle, and it's kind of like a black hole. It's a big, weighty, orchestra-driven existential crisis, sucking everything in its way. That's what he said. So
I mean, that's his perception. He's definitely not wrong. I mean, it's definitely lyrically too. When you talk about, that song's lyrically is brilliant in my opinion. What he came back with after going through his own tribulations and trials and being introspective and to be honest, I have to give a shout out to my brother Adam Shadows because he's helped me through a lot of my existential crisis going through his own, and we're a band of brothers.
Yeah, you guys are for sure. So, I always known that.
Yeah, and I think he's spot on for a lot of it. I would agree. I mean, it is like it's that anxiety field of the event horizon, right? Like I think that's what he's kind of describing. He says the black hole and everything getting sucked into it. It's that anxiety, that droning, like going over and over, and there's no real payoff. I mean, there really is no payoff in this song in a lot of respects. It's just like anxiety. I guess I mean that in more of like a typical way of speaking, right, for a song. But your payoff is nearly 2-minute instrumental outro,
which is breathtaking.
And then like
Gates just shred, man.
And that's like, and what that really was is just kind of where do you go from all this tension building up? Where do you go? Where's the payoff? Do you go musically? What are you trying to convey here? Does it just end abruptly? Does it do it? And it's like, well, let's put a bow on it, but let's make it somber. Let's go neoclassical.
That's cool.
Let's go and just you're finally into the black hole, and you're coming into this non-existence. And that's just, let's accept it. It's somber, but let's accept it and go into it. It's nobody. Let's go.
I love it. So is the rest of the record kind of have is it connected in a way? Kind of, I'm not like a Operation Mindcrime or something like, from Queensrÿche or something, but there is song to song, the colors, do they all kind of connect or they stand on their own? Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, okay. I mean, musically they stand on their own. Absolutely. There is some ideas, even musically, I guess, that do reoccur, but that would be going into music theory and stuff, which is above my pay grade, to be honest.
That's more Gates's thing.
But like, I mean, the overarching philosophy is I guess you could call it a concept and a theme of the album. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how we've approached the last several records, really, is just, there's been there's a bunch of colors of the rainbow on an album, right? But it's still a rainbow. You know what I mean? Like it's still one thing with all those different spectrums going on in between it. And each time, I think lyrically, especially, Matt has begun to approach things that way. Like, I mean, the stage was talking about mostly the future and the inevitability of AI, which is that record was released in 2016. Look what's happening right now.
Totally.
7 years later.
You guys predicting the future, man. Cool.
I want to go that far. The writing was on the wall, man. Like you just have to pick up a couple of books.
Totally. So, I mean, obviously we get this album now, June 2. The anticipation grows. I can't wait to hear the whole thing, obviously, all the way through. So I was thinking about hitting up Matt too, because he says, I've sent it out to a few people. I'm like, brother, what? Hello. We get you a watermark copy. It's not. We'll talk after this. Right on. So 13 shows. Obviously, you guys got this. It's the North American Part 1 thing. So you're doing 13 shows. You're hitting Minneapolis. We'll see you guys at Target Center in July. Finally, you guys are coming around when it's not cold. By the way,
I know, dude. Every time I've been at the Target Center, it's been snowing outside.
Stupid cold.
I got to say, dude, I have very fond memories of playing that arena. We played it a handful of times now at this point.
Oh yeah.
And every time I go back, I'm like, it feels like another home,
I think you guys kicked off the Nightmare tour there, the very first night there. Wasn't there some dude that was supposed to something like fall from the but something got caught up or something like that at first. It didn't something.
Oh man,
something
you
got weird.
Memory than I do on that, Pablo.
Of course. Well, you do a million shows. I was at one, but I know we went afterwards to a boob bar and had a good time.
There wasn't too many mishaps with that stunt, but there was a couple. So I wouldn't. It's very possible that was the first night of that, and maybe that's why I have such a fond memory. Of course, that wasn't the first show that we were playing. Oh, I do remember now, because it was first shows without Jimmy. So we did Heavy Montreal first.
Yes.
That was the first arena where we were able to really do that stunt. Probably.
Okay.
That's what it was. I believe that if my memory serves me correctly. So
yeah.
Again, I wasn't exactly in the right frame of mind
at that
time in my life. So
totally
don't shoot me on that one.
It was such a crazy night. It was a fun night. I remember Matt brought me up on stage and we did some bet between the Lakers and the Celtics, and the Lakers won. So I had to pay him on stage. And he put that jersey on. You probably don't remember that, but anyway, afterwards we went to a boob bar and got drunk. So
which is right across the street.
Yeah.
There's another reason why that I'm very fond of this arena.
See, you remember that part, of course.
I remember that part.
Right on. So at this show, will you guys be pulling out all the stops, or will it be kind of a scaled back, just get our feet wet kind of tour before we go?
Oh, no.
Bring it. Full on Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of been an overarching thing that we've thrown around in this camp, is just we don't want to keep doing stuff unless we're doing it right, bold, thoughtful, intent, but mostly bold.
Sure.
And
this
entire album has that theme written all over it, and a mantra that we've been taking in for the last several years. And it's interesting because some if you said this to like our fan base, they'd be like, aren't you guys already pretty bold and fearless? It's like, yes, but there's levels to that, right? And at this point in our lives with family and everything, we've just taken perspective on what's really important to us. And if we want to continue to do this stuff, which we do, we did come to that conclusion. We're going balls out, like even more than we were before. And
right on.
I'm really excited to do this. I have not seen the set to this point, Pablo. I mean,
you won't be doing Beast in the Harlot per Gates. I did a Zoom with him like 2 months. Yeah, he said, dude, I'm never playing that song again. I hate it. Something like that. I'm like, what?
Amazing. That's gonna be
love that song.
I say, Pablo, you make him a little gentleman's bet on that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hopefully we've got a long career, and he may say never, but never say never, right?
Right. Totally.
Which I'm okay with letting that song sit on the back burner for a while as well. So, but the point is, at this point, I've seen the renderings of what this stage is going to look like, and what we're going to be pulling off, and we're going to be bringing that production. You better believe we're bringing that production to Minneapolis.
That's exciting, man. It's exciting.
I'm excited. I got in like 2-3 weeks. We're in rehearsal right now, just as a band, but in 2-3 weeks we start production rehearsals for that upcoming tour, and I cannot wait to actually be in an arena and be practicing with that.
I can imagine. You got to shake off the rust a little bit, man, being on the stage. It's been a minute, right? Little nerves kick in, all that kind of stuff, anxiety and stuff when you finally get out there.
You know, I want to say it's all excitement, and I think it's all excitement right now, but sometimes you internalize anxiety that way, right? At this point, we're still not up there. I still haven't stepped foot on the first stage that we're going to be doing in 5 years. But I can tell you, if I conceptualize it, if I think about it, I'm fucking ecstatic. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Like,
I can't wait.
I've been playing stay-at-home dad for too long, dude. I'm ready to get back out there.
Taking your kid to wrestling shows and all that stuff, like WWE, all that stuff. I've seen some of those, but that's cool.
Don't get me wrong. It's been amazing. I wouldn't change it for the world. That the time that I've been able to spend with my son at his early developing years.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's a bond that I know. I'm so thankful that I've been able to do that, because as you know, it wouldn't have been the case, I mean, it would have been very different. And now he's finally at an age, he's 6 years old now. When we get back out there, he's going to get to come to shows.
That's cool.
See what his dad really does. He doesn't just, wipe his ass all the time and clean up after him, so.
I look forward to meeting him, man, for sure.
Oh man, you'll meet him. He's a good kid.
So you look, man, I can't keep you too much longer. I know you got to roll. There's a lot more to talk about, obviously, with the record coming June 2. For you people watching out there, June 2, you can get your hands on Life Is But a Dream. How many songs are on the record, dude?
There's 11 tracks on the record.
11 tracks. Okay. And do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Will you share that with me, or are you just going to hold that to yourself? Good. Thanks, jerk. Yeah.
Isn't that great? I love that we have this rapport, Pablo.
Yeah. Totally.
No, I do have I have a couple favorites on it, actually, but it's hard to say when no one knows the title track, the titles of the tracks right now.
Yeah, I got you.
It's a little difficult, but
sure.
Look, I mean, I'm very proud of my brothers for putting this record together. I'm very proud to be a part of it. I think it is an album that from front to back, no one has tackled, in my opinion. I don't think anyone has ever even maybe attempted to tackle a record like this before. And
that's bold. I like it.
Be more proud of it. And I know that's not just hyperbole of just like someone like, oh, we got a new record. It's the best thing we've ever done.
Sure.
I don't know if it's the best thing we've ever done. That's up to you guys to decide. All I know is that we accomplished what we set out to do in great fashion, and I couldn't be happier and more proud about that, and ready to go out and see the fans that I miss so much, and go out to these shows and bring it to life. We're working on a stage. We're working on sonically stuff that we've never tried live. I mean, we're using the new kids technology out there and bringing it to these old dogs, and we're gonna do some pretty cool shit with it.
Dude, I can't wait. My brother, Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold. We'll see you in July at Target Center, my friend. I'm sure you and I will talk between then. Can't wait to hear the record.
We've been talking about this for a while. You got to
a long time
on the podcast.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's find a topic. Let's find a topic to crush. We'll do it later in the next couple of weeks. All right.
I'm down, man. Good to see you, brother.
All right. You too.
Later.
Man.